They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, you make me watch the Godfather trilogy when I'm a self-proclaimed hater of mafia films, then get ready, Rashad, because for the next few days, weeks, maybe even months, you're about to watch 3 musicals of my choice and a dish that's best served cold. Ho ho ho, buddy. This dish is Frozen, my friend. Maybe I should have just made you watch Frozen. Nah. Today we're starting off these 3 musicals with Dear Evan Hansen. Dear Evan Hansen is a 2021 musical adapted from a Broadway stage play by the same name, starring the same lead of that musical, Ben Platt, as the titular Evan Hansen, a very socially awkward, anxiety and depression-ridden kid that, after learning about the suicide of a classmate, Connor Murphy, tells the student's family and everybody around that he was in fact Connor's best friend in an attempt to bring hope into their lives when they felt as if they didn't know him that well. But no matter his good intentions, maybe honesty is really the best policy. Firstly, I have to give a huge shout out and thanks to Rashad for joining me in the first of 3 musical reviews. I know that it's going to be putting you through the ringer a little bit, man, but in all fairness, you did make me watch Godfather, so it's only fair. Dear Evan Hansen, of course, is a film that has received a fair amount of love and hate from both sides because it contains a message of hope, but it's founded on a questionable principle and foundation, which I will talk about in a little bit, but I first have to talk about some of the positives. So Rashad, I don't know if you looked up the Broadway play that it's based off of, but yeah, it's an adaptation, and the same guy in the movie who played Evan on Broadway for quite a few years. And you talk about how you weren't the biggest fan of his, and there's technically a solid reason why that's a valid complaint. And again, I will talk about that later, but I do like him. I think that he has an incredible display of vocal range and is honestly fantastic when it comes down to his acting ability. Obviously, he knows this character inside and out, and he feels very strongly of the message of the film. And you see that in the movie, you feel it. Also, as is the case with a lot of musicals, this is a musical where nobody in the film knows that you're singing. This is an internal heart song situation, if you will. So the songs convey what people are feeling, not what they are outwardly expressing, emoting, and especially not what they're singing. They're not singing for real. Rashad, this is another thing that you mentioned in your review, like you would slap the kid and say you don't have time for his melody, then you don't understand what's going on here because nobody hears the melody in the first place. Heart songs through and through. This is a movie about hidden feelings, secrets that nobody feels comfortable sharing, guilt, things of the nature. And I like musicals that do this because music in general is often connected to people just pouring out things that they feel, like love, hate, confusion, despair, for centuries. That's what music was all about. So musicals where songs are really just the heart speaking makes sense to me. Sure, the duets and stuff like that make a lot less sense at that point, but really it's all just a metaphor of what's happening. It's just another form of storytelling. As for the songs themselves, I find them all memorable. I almost did an intro to this review where I'm singing Dear My Friend Rashad, We've Been Far Too Out of Touch, etc. This is a soundtrack that I would legitimately buy and listen to just for the songs. I enjoy them that much, and I do have some negatives to point out, and I'll talk about them after Rashad speaks his piece, so stick around for that. But first, let us finally hear what Rashad has to think of my revenge. Take it away, man.
Alright, so I had my fun, had you watch all the Godfather movies. Now it's time to pay the piper. Got me watching some musicals. And mind you, I'm a big fan of some musicals. Some of my favorites are Grease, Little Shop of Horrors, Purple Rain, West Side Story, the OG and the new one. What do those movies have in common? They are very entertaining, vibrant. You feel good when you walk out the movies. Dear Evan Hansen has got to be one of the most dullest, boringest, morbid musicals that I've ever seen in my life. Like, I never thought a musical could be so fucking sad. Maybe I haven't seen enough of them, I don't know. But musicals usually have you feeling good afterwards, where you just want to just break dance and shit. Nah, this movie almost made me want to put a gun in my mouth. No, I mean, okay, in all seriousness, okay, the subject matter is very serious, okay? It has to do with suicide and teen anxiety and depression and the social media age and all that stuff. Okay, I get all that. But man, can there be some balance between, some kind of lightheartedness and then go back to because this movie is so morbid by the end. I felt bad. Like I had to go and watch like The Lion King or something to cheer me up. Well, not so much The Lion King, but I have to watch something to lift my spirits up because I just felt depressed after watching this. From a technical aspect, yes, this movie has some good production, has some very good performances. Julianne Moore is in here, Amy Adams is in here. Some good performances. I just felt like this movie was just way too long. They could have trimmed off maybe about 30 minutes of it. At least that's how I felt. Now, I know he was bitching about The Godfather being over 3 hours long. Okay, they're all long movies. But the story is so engaging where you just can't help but to be, well, at least I was into that shit the whole 3 hours. With this felt like 4 hours long. This felt longer than Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, this movie felt long. One of the problems is the lead. The lead of this movie, Evan Hansen himself. I just couldn't. Now, I was a socially awkward kid in high school. But one thing I can say about socially awkward kids, most of us, is that you have like those 1 or 2 friends that you're around where you can really be yourself. Like, for example, when I was around my 2 or 3 closest friends, I was king shit. I was the man among my little small group of nerdy friends, all right? To the 90% of the high school population, that's where I was all timid and shy and all shucks and all that stuff. But around my closest friends, I was like, man, it's night and day. That's socially awkward kids. He was just night all the time. Even with his close friend that, well, I guess whatever he was to him, he was just that timid, scared kid all the time. There was times I just wanted to grab him and shake him and be like, snap out of that shit. God damn, boy, what's wrong with you? He was hard to root for. Dave, I know you say with gangster movies, it's hard for you to root for the character because they're just not good people. And I'm not saying he wasn't a good person, even though he did do some fucked up shit where this movie, I'm pretty sure you're going into spoilers, this movie was predicated on a lie. Majority of this movie was predicated on a lie about his lie. And then, of course, he has to make up for it in the end to clear his name and all that. And I guess it has somewhat of a happy ending. But still, I felt depressed after watching this. He lied. He wrote this letter. Had everybody thinking that he was best friends with this kid. Started a whole, foundation or whatever and all that stuff. Man, look here, y'all. Dave, I don't know what you're going to say about this movie, but I'm not a fan of it. But I will say I did enjoy it more than the Harry Potter movies that Anthony Perez has been giving me, our mutual friend. So I will give it that. At least, I think I fell asleep in this movie maybe twice, all right? I slept through the majority of the Harry Potter movies, so that is saying something. I only slept in this movie twice. I think I slept for like a few minutes a couple of times, all right? None of the musical numbers were memorable. Usually with a musical, you walk away with at least one song engraved into your brain, just etched into your brain like, okay, yes, Let It Go, or, what's another one? I don't know why Let It Go was the first thing that popped in my head. Yeah, the songs are not memorable here. There was too many damn songs. Even like in the darkest moments, like, for example, spoiler here, when he finally reveals that he lied and that he wrote the letter, and the family is like crushed by this. This is like a very tense, serious moment, and he busts out into a song. If I'm the father, I would have grabbed that kid and said, boy, we ain't got time for your melodies. I'm about to beat your ass. All right, you lied about my boy. You gotta go down. C- is what I give this movie. See, I didn't shit on it all the way. I will give it some props. Like I said, the performances was good. The musical numbers, even though not memorable, there was still, I guess, all right. Production was on point. You know what I mean? But other than that, I can't really compliment this movie that much. All right, so got this one out the way. On to the next one. Dave, appreciate you putting me on and collabing with you once again, my friend. Until the next episode.
Woo! Thanks to Rashad for joining me in this review today, as usual. I've left a link to his channel in my description box below to check out. Subscribe to his stuff, guys. Great, laid-back guy. I love his no-nonsense approach to film critiquing, so go ahead, give him some love and tell him who sent you. But man, I am honestly surprised at your take here, because while you weren't the biggest fan of it, I expected that, but I'm surprised to hear why. This is a film that does have people divided, and I'll tell you the 2 main reasons why I think that some people don't like it, neither of which were your reasons? So, like I said, Ben Platt played the character Evan on the Broadway version of the show, which began in like 2014 or something, where his age was appropriate for the character. When he got older, his character was replaced on Broadway. The movie, though, took forever to get off the ground, but he was the original face of the character, and because he's a movie actor as well, they wanted him in the movie as Evan, and so he played it. But by then, he was too old. This doesn't bother me so much because that's a common movie trope. Actors that are like, 30 years old that play high school students, you see it all the time in movies and TV. So it doesn't really bother me that much. Plus, I think that Ben really does have a baby face, so I believed his age. The second problem is much more pronounced, and it is something that I agree with. And that's the fact that the medium of a stage play probably works better for the story here, which was not executed as well as they thought it would have been. What I mean by that is that the entire film is founded on fraud, lies, and deceit. This kid is lying through his teeth to grieving parents and giving them what feels like false hope the entire time. And it really does turn your stomach because it feels awful. Like really, really awful. It's not supposed to either. Somewhere deep down is a very hopeful, very light, very feel-good message in there. And you do feel it in one point in the movie where Evan gives a speech that goes viral. And people everywhere start gaining a little bit more clarity and optimism and purpose in their lives where they felt lost before. They suddenly feel a reason to go on. That moment in the film is, at least to me, incredibly powerful. And what it was attempting to do in the film with helping this Connor Murphy character and his family learn to cope and feel like they knew him a little bit more, what it was trying to do with that in the movie, I think was broken. It is there though, and on repeat viewings, I've definitely appreciated it more for sure, but upon the first watch, I can't help but think that it would have worked a lot better in that stage play medium. But boring, dull, morbid? No, you're missing the point, Rashad. I mean, for instance, the Sincerely Me song. They got these kids dancing on tables, riding around on go-karts, dancing on a DDR platform. Like, that song is incredibly fun. It's funny, even, and it's not the only one that is, but it's certainly the most popular, I would say. So, Rashad, I want to thank you anyways one last time before I give my final score. So make sure that everybody goes and checks out his channel. Lots of great content over there. Subscribe to his stuff, but here we go. My final score for Dear Evan Hansen is B+ with a final score of 83%, and you'll be surprised to see that a majority of the positives that I give this film really do come down to that unbiased technical score of 94%. Like, it really was made incredibly well, and I think that even Rashad agrees that from a technical perspective that there's a lot going on. And my bias score is just like, I enjoyed it. And most of that comes down to the music that I enjoyed, but the reason why the bias score isn't as high is simply the fact that the foundation really is built on a lie. And that kind of confuses you as a watcher, and it kind of turns your stomach a little bit, it kind of turns you off. So that aggravated me. But anyways, guys, have you seen Dear Evan Hansen? If you have, I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.